Hey guys, it's Kim here, and welcome to the making of To Infinity. So as you may have guessed from my Twitter account and my Reddit and everything, I've been so excited about my series To Infinity. Honestly, it's the only thing I've been thinking about for the last few months. So I just wanted to take you guys behind the scenes because there are so many people involved in this project that I really want to kind of show off because their talent has really blown me away. And if anything, that's kind of what made this series. So I'm going to take you through that. But first, I want to talk about why I made To Infinity and what inspired me. Well, as you may remember, earlier this year, I think it was in Cornerstone, I said something about how I would marry the person who made an Infinity Gauntlet mod in Minecraft, and someone did it. So we did a spotlight video on the Infinity Gauntlet mod, and it was pretty cool. Like, it was so OP and ridiculous, and the most fun thing ever. And it kind of got me thinking that this person had gone and made this mod for me, for funsies, and I kind of really wanted to use it, but we couldn't fit into Flux Buddies. We couldn't think of kind of how to kind of, you know, put it in there. And I was like, I kind of want to do my own Minecraft series. And you guys know me, I'm not very good at Minecraft. And I think I've only kind of managed to kind of grasp what you can do with Minecraft. And also it was because I was having a conversation with one of our editors, Adrian, who's a long-standing friend of mine as well, and I was just saying, look, I want to do something different, I don't know what to do. And he said, well, I have a map with like a crashed ship in it, you could totally do something. And I've built this other map with a starship, you know, and I don't really know what to do with it. And I was like, so that kind of started things ticking over in my head. So I went away and I thought about it, and I thought, right, I love writing stories. I used to write a lot of stories, or what's now known as fan fiction, when I was younger. And I really like that Minecraft can facilitate that creative side of you. So I went away and I came up with a rough kind of story of something. I didn't know what to call it, but it was going to be based around the Infinity Stones. So that kind of, you know, naturally gave a questy type thing. And so I said, okay, we're going to split it into six gems, 6 stories, 6 quests. What can I do with them? And I thought, well, I love sci-fi. I haven't really seen like a really good sci-fi series on YouTube on Minecraft. So I thought, what are my favorite sci-fi things? What can we do? And so I thought that kind of, you know, naturally progressed into theming every single episode into a sci-fi thing, to having things like crew members from all the different kind of sci-fi things ever. And then my editor, Matt, who's a relatively new guy in the Yogscast, was like, well, I write scripts. And I was like, you're on, you know, and he's a huge Doctor Who nerd as well. So what did you think when I first came to you and I was like, I got this thing? And well, actually you came to me because you mentioned you could write scripts.
Yeah, I heard you talking about you were going to do this. Yeah, I was eavesdropping. I always do.
So yeah, he came on board and he actually took kind of the outline that I'd written and scripted it. And I was kind of, because I didn't really expect anything, I was kind of like, just like, oh yeah, we'll have a script, you know, maybe in a month's time or something like that. And he literally just went away one weekend and was like, yeah, I've written it all. And I was like, what? Like, and this is what I mean about talented and passionate, is that, you know, I couldn't believe how fast he turned it around. So what was it like writing, you know, what kind of things did you look for, or, you know, was it hard, or what was your inspiration?
Well, it was quite tricky because Firefly I had never seen. So that was quite tricky. I'd never seen Starship Troopers either. Star Wars, I was a big Star Wars fan, so that was fine.
Yeah.
And I think that probably shows a bit in the script that I sort of knew the universe more so than
it was in a little character kind of like asides, you know.
Yeah, that was what I quite liked about the Star Wars one, is that, you know, because I knew Han Solo, and you know, I was able to play around with the whole Greedo, you know, shooting first, or didn't he shoot first?
I thought that was hilarious, because I wrote an original treatment that was completely different.
Yeah.
And then you came back with this G. Lucas character, and I was like, this is amazing. So once we kind of nailed the scripts, we approached Vidact, who's one of my builders, and yeah, he built the maps for me. So he's responsible for all the maps bar the Serenity one, which Adrian built. So he did the Starship Enterprise, he did the Starship Troopers world, he did the meteorite at the end, he did Star Wars Cantina, and he did such an amazing job. And oh my god, of course, the alien base. So I'm going to hand this bit over to Vdact, so he can tell you a bit more about how he did it.
I got pretty excited when you said it was set in a sci-fi environment, because I'm a huge space and sci-fi nerd, so as you can probably imagine, my favorite film genre would be indeed sci-fi, so having the opportunity to recreate some of the most iconic locations, not only in sci-fi but in the film industry, really. I mean, most people have actually heard or seen these locations before. It was absolutely amazing, and I've never had the opportunity to really build anything sci-fi on a big scale like this, so I was looking forward to this project for a long time, and I wanted to do some of these builds in the past as well, but I never had the reason or the time to really dedicate to them, so this is like the perfect opportunity for me to work on some of these builds, and it was a blast. I'm gonna be honest with you, I had a ton of fun building them, especially just having sometimes the soundtrack of the films playing in the background as I'm making the builds was absolutely amazing, and having a ton of reference images and reference points to work off was absolutely incredible as well. I had help from my good friend Alice. She used to be on the same build team as me back a few months ago, and she's an incredible terraformer. I couldn't have done the maps without her. She just can make things look very organic and very natural. I just can't do that myself, so that brings us on to the next topic of the tools that we're using. So we used World Edit, Voxel Sniper, and World Painter. So World Edit is basically used for making building easier. It allows you to spawn in large amount of blocks, you can copy, paste things around, you can flip them, so basically sometimes you don't even have to do the whole build, you can just do half of it if it's a symmetrical build, and you can paste it to the other side, and it has a whole bunch of brushes and tools that you can work with. Voxel Sniper is a more advanced version of that. It basically allows you to do more with World Edit, which is very useful for more advanced builders, and we used World Painter for just pasting in some of the locations, doing the terrains with brushes like mountains and that sort of stuff. And the reference points. There was a lot of reference points to work with, as you can probably imagine, because these are quite big locations and quite big films. So we can look at sets, we had blueprints, like for example for the Enterprise, and just rewatching bits from films that we can kind of copy from and just see how everything looked. But I think scale was the hardest thing about the reference points. It was really hard to capture, but I think we did it at the end. I mean, they don't look out of proportion, so I think we did a pretty good job. So question 3 about my favorite build. So I'd have to say the Star Trek Enterprise was definitely my favorite build to do. I just have a thing for spaceships, and having the opportunity to work on a spaceship of this size and of this shape was really fun. But I think what made it the most fun for me was seeing the progression, starting out with the wireframe to make sure the scale and everything is accurate, and then filling in the blocks, then changing them to fit the right colors from the reference images. It was just a ton of fun to do, but I did have to do the interior separate to the exterior, because whenever I do the exterior, I never account for the interior going in, because I'm just a terrible interior builder. So that's why I had to do it completely separate, to just make sure I have enough space and I don't have any restrictions, just so we can make it feel more epic once you're on the inside. And I suppose that's kind of funny how this is my favorite ship, but yet I've never seen the old Star Trek films. So I suppose don't tell Lewis, if he's going to be listening to this, that I haven't seen the old films. I've seen the new ones, so I suppose that's quite good, but I'm not sure if that redeems me at all.
So these maps really blew me away. I couldn't believe the detail in them, and I actually spent time furnishing the alien map, because I was kind of trying to plot it out. So I took Matt's storyline and I took Vdact's map, and I kind of planned out where we're going to put things, and then I used the alien Crafter's Isolation adventure map, which we did last Christmas. I took the resource pack from that and furnished the whole area, so it was a bit more Weyland-Yutani, it was a bit more alien. And I just remember doing that and being absolutely blown away by the level level of detail. So next up, once the scripts were done, once the maps were done, I took everything back to Adrian, who furnished everything, who put in all the NPCs. He kind of really, oh my god, like he spent so much time planning out like how to make things happen. And you know, a lot of this, I feel really bad about this bit because I'm still quite new to Minecraft and I couldn't figure out some of the NPC mods and stuff like that. So Adrian taught me how to use the NPC mods, and then he went and did kind of everything, and he put everything in. I helped out with the Alien and Star Wars maps, but I think like that was my kind of limit. It was like placing people and finding dialogue for them and trying the dialogue trees, but I couldn't do like, you know, making them attack you and making them puff. Adrian was responsible for that.
So Kim, you're standing in spot. And then you've got to work your own way up to the artifacts.
So yeah, it was Adrian who really brought these levels to life. And he sat through with us as well. He kind of went through all the maps with me before recording, and then he sat with us during recording to kind of make sure everything was working, to tweak things in, to kind of do the VO just in case we needed someone to work with. And he did an amazing job, and I wanted to get him to record with us today and ask him a few questions, but he's so busy. And this is the thing, you know, he was doing this outside of, you know, his actual editing day job here. So I am eternally grateful to Adrian for helping us out. So as well as all these people making and building the map, we also had some VO artists as well. Our own Yogscast community manager, Mark Holmes, provided the voices for several of the characters.
You need to leave here! It's not safe! For God's sakes, run! Oh!
He actually came and sat in some of the episodes and worked with us. So for example, when he filmed as Han Solo and as Thanos, he was in the recording session, moving around, you know, ad-libbing, throwing some lines out there. And I think we had some really funny lines because it was all scripted and we kind of meant to put it all in as NPC chat, but he was free and he was like, well, it's a little bit better if we kind of just riff off of each other.
Have a look at me a minute. Have a look at me, Adrian.
Oh, you bopping.
How the fuck are you doing all this? Amazing.
I'm just pressing buttons on the keyboard. That's B.
Look at this! Zombie!
Oh, that's so fucking cool.
I just want a hug. Oh, look, we can hug at the end, look.
I'm coming for you.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
I can do like a dog, like scraping my bum.
Sit on his face. Oh my god, that's so wrong. Oh, that's so wrong.
Boy, suck my dick. I am Thanos, master of the universe.
Oh, shit. Yep. And you. No!
I read it.
Matt, my editor as well, so not only can he edit and write scripts, but he was actually doing some of the voices as well.
You have entered Sontaran military space. Decrease speed and prepare to be boarded. Failure to comply with these instructions will lead to your deaths.
So he, of course, did the amazing Picard performance, and again, he sat in with us and recorded with us at that point. And like, honestly, like some of the jokes he just threw out had us in stitches, like about Kirk being the joke of the of Starfleet.
It's far worse than space AIDS, Duncan. Space AIDS, that was Kirk's problem.
Oh, damn! Damn, son! I mean, carry on, Captain.
He's a joke of the Federation.
As you can hear, their voice work is brilliant. We also had Kat, who did the voice of Ripley.
They've been systematically killed by an alien. An egg was implanted into Kane's body and now it's grown and roaming around the place.
And we have Nina as well doing River Song.
You are holding in your hands one of the greatest powers to ever grace the multiverse.
That to me is what really put the finishing beautiful details to the edits, was just having actual voices and not having us just reading like blocks of text. One other person I'd love to mention is Lying in Bedmon, who has been one of our kind of behind the scenes Minecrafty people helping out with things like Flux Buddies. He was one of the vampires and he was also responsible for the Lawnable base build as well. He helped out with that, him and his crew. But in this instance, I went to him when we had a problem with the alien map. So originally it was meant to be kind of Alien was after Star Trek and then it was going to be Star Wars. So it wasn't going to be like Starship Troopers, Star Trek, Star Wars. alien. You know, I realized we had all the stars in there. We had a mod in mind, the AVP mod, but it was so laggy we couldn't get anything to work. So we were like, well, all we need is these skins for the facehuggers and for the alien, because they are really, really good. And so I turned to Lying because I was like, I'm really sorry if this is a really complicated question I'm about to ask here, but can you strip the mod out of this? And he turned around, and bless him, he was moving at the time as well, and he was like, yeah, I can take a look, I can do this. And well, I'll leave it to him to tell you a bit more about how he did it.
I'll admit I was a little bit concerned, because I have never built a mod to spec, and I actually have never released one either. I've more or less just always had ongoing projects in the works, but the fact that it was alien specifically meant that it was something that I'm very, very fond of and know quite a bit about and would be fairly driven to get right. So I was kind of, I was very excited to try and get to work building these little things and making them work the way that I knew they should. Deadlines aren't exactly something I'm used to either, so it was interesting trying to work to one of those as well. Pretty much everything was actually built from scratch. More or less the only thing that I got handed to me was via Kieran Dave, who stripped out the entity textures from the mod. There aren't any sounds in it, there aren't any weapons, there aren't any items, all sorts of other things. But other than that, the only reference point I actually had was a very old screenshot that was released by the mod developers early in the design of the actual xenomorphs. So I had to just take the actual texture files, which are at insane and very incoherent resolutions. They're about 3-4 times the size of a standard Sphax pack that the Yogscast tends to use, and just sort of figure out, okay, this part must be this scaling, which means it's probably this part on the model, so I just have to shunt that into place, stick that in the right thing. There was a lot of comical moments during development where my xenomorphs, for example, had legs that were attached to the wrong part of them. But it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of interesting moments trying to get the facehugger functionality to work. It's not quite the way I would do it in the end of things, but it was fun to develop anyways. The tail swishing, honestly, is such a small thing, but it's actually one of the most entertaining things that I think I developed. But I think, by and large, the best thing I like about what I managed to make into that mod in the short span of time I had was just the incubation effect, where the facehugger latches onto you and then doesn't attack you, can be knocked off, can be killed, but after a while just completely goes invisible, just seems to die, and then eventually bad things happen. That was not quite as easy as I thought it would be to do, and in a more complete system I would have a much different way of doing it, but it was just so much fun to add that, and I'm glad to know that everyone enjoyed it so much. Who knows, I might try and actually make a full thing on it, but who knows.
So again, when we had that back and we saw the mod in action, it just blew my mind, especially the facehuggers. I don't even know how you do that, and in the recording it ended up that the facehuggers were the most exciting and the most fun part because they were just so unpredictable. They were even more OP than the aliens themselves, if anything.
Woo! Facehugger! Facehugger!
Where?
Save me!
Where is
Save me!
it?
It's on my face!
Ah, it's on your
my
face!
face! It's on my face!
I burnt it off you!
Those facehuggers, they really came in at the 11th hour, like, you know, we literally put them in an hour before we recorded, and they replaced what we originally did, which was we took a human model, and then in the NPC tool, we kind of squashed it, took its arms off, took its legs off, made it really long and thin and lying down, and then changed the whole skin color to yellow, and just pathed it so it was running up and down the room where the first facehugger we meet was. And it kind of looked horrible in its own way, so it was actually a chest burster. We do realize we missed out kind of several steps of, you know, alien lore there, but, you know, we had to work with it. So yeah, it was so funny, like just this, our original solution, and then replacing it with this facehugger that actually looked and was terrifying. So there you go, that's kind of a look at season 1 of To Infinity and the amazing talent and hard work that went in behind it. If we did a season 2, well, we have a couple of ideas for season 2. We're not entirely sure where we're gonna go next, or if, you know, if there is gonna be a season 2. I certainly would love to open it up to more members of Yogscast. The reason why it was me and Duncan in this one is because I wasn't too sure about like how we were going to film this and the timeline and kind of pulling everything together. So I wanted it just to be Duncan because Duncan's, you know, my recording partner. We work well together. I know kind of like, and you know, I didn't want to mess people around. Like if they came to the recording session, I was like, oh God, it's not working or something like that. And everyone else has been so busy as well. I do want to get more people in, especially Zoe as well. I think she would be amazing, and she's already got her kind of spaceship. Well, I think we learned a lot of things in terms of timeline. For some mad reason, we decided to film and edit this so it was going out kind of mid-November and then finishing in December. And filming and editing in December has been really stressful because everyone has been so busy with the Christmas live streams, with the edits and stuff like that. So things have been getting pretty stressful here. So definitely, I want to kind of, you know, get it all recorded beforehand before any kind of busy period, and then edit it, you know, so we have proper time to edit it. I feel really bad that Vidact made these amazingly beautiful maps, and we kind of barely used, like especially the alien map and the Starship Enterprise, we barely used it. So I definitely want to reuse those maps in the future season. But I want to, we're talking about changing it so it's less like a kind of scripted series and a storyline series and a little bit more Minecraft-y. Although I kind of want to tread that fine line between what we've got now as a style and what Flux Buddies is, because obviously Flux Buddies is a lot of improv and we're building things and we're Minecrafting. But you know, this To Infinity for me was my break from Flux Buddies. You know, I was getting a little bit frustrated with Flux Buddies, and as you can see, we wanted to kind of conclude it. And like To Infinity was my kind of step back and like being a completely different persona. You know, I've really enjoyed being Infinity Kim because it's nice to kind of take a break from Fluxed Kim. So I need to kind of find a way for us to use these maps and really kind of, because there's some amazing things that you haven't seen, like mechs. There's a whole landing pad that I tried to write in but we couldn't. I think as well my own inexperience with Minecraft showed at times with not knowing kind of what mods we could use. So I would have loved it if we could have used the Flans mod to build a mech in the alien map. You know, have a kind of fight with the alien queen and have Ripley going, get away from her! But I didn't realise that Flans mod had mechs until towards the end. So I think I personally need to look up more as to what mods we can play with, what resource packs we can play with, and have more fun that way and really kind of show off the maps that we've got as well, because they absolutely deserve it. So what would you do differently if we did this again? When we do this again?
What would I do differently?
I know what I'd make you do.
Oh, right.
I'd make you sit down and play Minecraft.
Yeah, that was the main problem. Yeah, this is the thing, and this is going to make everyone's going to laugh at me because I work at the Yogscast, never played Minecraft. Never.
Don't worry, that was me when I started.
Yeah, when I started here, I was just like, yeah, just Minecraft. Yeah, I had no idea. So I didn't know what you could and couldn't do in Minecraft.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. I hope you have a better idea of the work and the love that went into To Infinity. It's certainly been quite the experience. I have enjoyed every single second of it, even the really stressful ones where everything was broken and we couldn't get things to work and Duncan had wandered off because he was distracted.
Oh!
What was that? What's that?
It's a living flame!
What's that?
It's attacking me!
Well, that's not legit!
Duh!
Did you put it out?
What are we shooting?
Did you put it out?
Okay, yeah, fuck. That's one of the little dudes that that makes all the little working Joes spawn, and you just set them on fire.
I like that. I like that. They keep that in. That's funny.
Oh.
Oh shit!
Ripley!
Oh god, there's more working Joes!
Oh hell! Kill them! Fuck! I'm on fire! This thing is terrifying.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. This is why you should never give us fire. This is why I said we shouldn't have flamethrowers to start with.
That's one more for the blooper reel. Oh, there's many of them.
Hold on. Yeah, come back out. Come back out.
They should. Shit the bed! Fucking hate you!
Oh, fuck me.
Oh, that really needs to be kept as a blooper. I genuinely shat myself a little bit there.
Oh my god.
Duck. You horrible man.
I forgot about something.
You horrible man. That was horrible.
Oh, it's fucking Scotty. Fuck you, Scotty, you twat.
I really hope that you have enjoyed it too, because ultimately what I wanted to do was I wanted to write a big love letter to sci-fi. I'm a huge sci-fi fan, and I wanted to kind of just, you know, enjoy the world. And I think you can hear the glee in my voice during the Star Trek episode where I could act out all the kind of, you know, infamous Picard moments. Like, I wrote First Contact in there because I always love that scene where Picard is like, no! You know, I absolutely love it. So I think you can hear the absolute love in my voice, especially like the alien map as well when I'm wandering around, and the Wrath of Khan moment. You know, these are all things that I love. I grew up watching these shows and these movies and, you know, reading these books and consuming these things. And Matt, of course, had to get his Doctor Who references in there. Why not? Kid's been a trooper. So I think, I hope that you took it in that spirit, and that it was all a bit crazy. Yes, it had the kind of usual Yogscast, you know, shakiness with a few errors and mistakes, but there was so much that we had to kind of put together that there was bound to be mistakes somewhere. And hopefully I've learned enough that if we do a season 2, we'll have learned from these mistakes. So yeah, I want to say a big thank you, of course, to Duncan for joining me in this. I want to say thank you to Adrian for just being my rock, you know, video editing. That he's responsible for editing all the final stuff, apart from Matt, who did episode 3. I want to thank Matt, of course, for both doing the scripting, the voices, editing episode 3, and generally just being freaking awesome. Mark Holmes, again, for doing voices, for acting with us, for being really enthusiastic about it, and kind of, you know, just lending his energy to the whole project. Also, a big thanks to Need Original Name. I don't know your real name, but that's your Tumblr name. Thank you for creating a mod that inspired this in the first place. I mean, you are awesome. Thank you to Vidact for the maps that are just blow my mind at how talented and beautiful they are. Thank you to Lying in Bedmon for creating that amazing alien mod that really made that alien map. Thank you to Kat and to Nina for doing voices. And one more thank you to my friend Marsh Davies. You hear me mentioning him loads. He did the art for Picard during the Picard episode, and he loved every single second of it. And thank you finally to you guys for tuning in and for sending me your love and support for To Infinity. It has been great sharing this with you, and I think that was my biggest worry, was I kind of had this moment before I hit publish on the first episode where I was like, I've been working on this for months, and I think I've got kind of, you know, that kind of blindness of, does the story make sense? Is this good? Is this a good thing? I don't even know anymore. Like, is this a good recording? Is this a fun video? And I hope you've enjoyed it, because at least I have, and I've had a total blast making it. And fingers crossed that maybe we do a season 2. So thank you very much, guys, and I'll see y'all next time.